Isn't it great that we can hear and see stories from all across the country without even having to leave our own homes, just like our audience is doing right now?
I know, right? Canada seems like such a small place, which is why it's really easy to feel patriotic and get excited about stuff happening from coast to coast.
Well, it has taken a while for our young country to start developing its own identity.
Why do I feel like you're about to give me a history lesson?
One important day in Canadian history is May 23rd, 1887. It's when the first passenger train arrived at the Pacific coast with 150 passengers dropped off in Vancouver.
Over 100 years later, Grant Hardy got to get up close and personal with the very same locomotive that helped bring Canada together.
Let's head to Yaletown to check out engine 374.
It's a great big chunk of steel. It looks like a cylinder plus a cabin. And then behind the locomotive itself is something called the tender. It's what carries the wood or the coal and the water, which is the fuel supply.
For senior historian William Johnston, Canadian Pacific Engine 374 represents an important Canadian milestone.
And as you know, 150 years ago, Canada became a country, but with only 4 provinces, and they were back east. And the colony, both in Victoria and in this area, in the Vancouver area, they said, we will join Canada if you build a railway and link us with the east. So the Canadian Pacific Railway was formed in 1881, and 5 or 6 years later, the link was finished. So the first engine pulling the first passenger train into Vancouver was this engine, 374.
The engine was retired in 1945 and donated to the city of Vancouver. It spent many years at Kitts Beach, where time and weather wore it down until it was nearly scrapped. But with Expo 86 on the way, a restoration project was launched to bring it back to its former glory, and Engine 374 found a permanent home at the old Roundhouse near a community center in downtown Vancouver.
I'm Craig McDowall. I volunteer here at least once a week, the 374 Pavilion. We get a lot of tourists that come through here, especially in the summertime. I love them talking to tourists because they're from all over the world, and they're very interesting people to talk to. And we also get a lot of support from people that live around here in Yaletown, especially if they have little children and are involved with the community center next door. They'll come over here and play on the train. They just love to walk around it, climb in the cab, pretend they're an engineer, ring the bell, hang out the window. They yell all aboard. We have a little mini train set up here in one of the display cases, and they love watching that go around too.
Train fanatics from all over the world make a point to stop by the pavilion and marvel at the historic engine, like Tom Nottingham, a train enthusiast visiting from the UK.
When I saw this walking past, I just had to come in and look. I think it's wonderful. It's the first time I've seen anything of this antiquity. I'm glad they've got it. My only regret is that you can't light a fire and drive it up and down the railway lines. That would make it perfect.
And to make my visit to the gallery perfect, William gave me the chance to let out my inner child by letting me hop into the engineer's seat. The cabin contained a large chamber in the center where the fuel was burned to create steam. A long handle across the chamber controlled the amount of steam being sent to the engine, affecting acceleration. Another giant handle, called the Johnston bar, stuck out from the floor and controlled direction, forward, neutral, or reverse.
Well, I think I got a pretty good handle on this equipment. All aboard!
So, who do you think is more of a train fanatic, Grant or Tom Nottingham?
I think I'd have to go with Tom, but Grant's Touch Tour was great and a really cool way to show a bit of Canadian history.
Yeah, you know, the train pavilion is right along Grant's daily commute, but he admits that it's something that he has taken for granted. That is until he was able to experience it tactually.
Sometimes that's the best way to learn. And if you at home are interested in learning more about this historic locomotive, you can visit roundhouse.ca, where you'll find a link to more information.